What's up guys, it's Josh from KeepItTechie, and today I wanted to do a quick video showing you guys how to install and configure Cockpit on Linux. Now, as I stated in the intro of the video, I wanted to show you guys Cockpit. And if you don't know what Cockpit is, it basically is a service that you can install on Linux that provides a web-based interface for managing and monitoring hosts on your network. And this is specifically created to manage Linux servers. And so I actually use this on my local network to manage my Ubuntu server as well as other hosts on my network. And you can do a whole lot with this actual application. And this is actually similar to a video that I did in the past where I showed you guys webmin. Well, Cockpit is basically the same exact thing. It's just a little bit better in my opinion. So let's go down and get started. I'm gonna go down and go to their website first just to show you what Cockpit is all about, and then go through the installation process, and then also show you guys how to actually use it once it's up and running on your system. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is show you guys the Cockpit website, and let's just go down and read a little bit about it. It says easy to use. The easy to use, integrated, glanceable, and open web-based interface for your server. It says Cockpit makes GNU Linux discoverable. See your server in a web browser and perform system tasks with a mouse. It's easy to start containers, administer storage, configure networks, and inspect the logs. And then if we go down a little further, it says design and tested. Cockpit is designed with your goal in mind, with also routinely test It says we also routinely test Cockpit with usability studies to make it work the way you expect. As a result, Cockpit gets easier to the use all the time. And then it says team friendly. Cockpit is friendly enough for those new to Linux and useful for seasoned administrators too. Packages include installing and running Cockpit is simple. It's already included in most of major distributions. So that's one cool thing about it. It's in the repositories for a lot of different Linux distributions. And actually this is a project that was created by Red Hat. So I just wanted to give you that side note right fast. But you can install it on Ubuntu as well as many other Linux distributions. But I know for sure it's in the Ubuntu repository as well as Red Hat, obviously. So you can install it from the main repository in Red Hat. And if we go down a little bit further, it says integrates. And I won't read all of this, but you can see it says plays well with others. You could jump between terminals and a web interface at any time. They do have a terminal emulator within the actual application. You can open up the terminal from the browser, which is pretty cool. So, and one thing about it, you can actually sign into it just like you're signing into the server itself. So that's basically what this talks about: sign in like normal, self-contained, uses existing APIs, and efficient. Cockpit only uses memory and CPU when active. When inactive, there's no extra load on your server. So that's one great thing about it as well that I want to point out. But that's pretty much it. Well, actually, let me point this out as well. It's free and open source. It's under the GNU LGPL license. So it's free to use and, you know, do whatever you want with on whatever server that you're installing it on. So, and then also they do have a GitHub page. You can go check it out for yourself. They do have some installation instructions down here, I believe, which is not hard to install. You just simply install it using the app package manager in Ubuntu, and then DNF for Red Hat. So let's go down and install it right fast. I already have a virtual machine up and running. So let me bring up the terminal right fast so you guys can see how to install it. Okay, so I have my terminal up and running. I'm SSH'd into it. It's basically a virtual machine that's running Ubuntu 20.04. But let's go on and install the actual cockpit application. The first thing you want to do with any Linux box when you're installing something new, you want to update the system. So let's run sudo apt updates, and let's just refresh the repository, you know what I'm saying, and cache everything. That way we have the fresh packages, and if there are any updates, it'll let us know and we can update the system from there. But I'm pretty sure this system doesn't have any updates, and as you can see, it says all packages are up to date. So it's fully updated. Let's go down and install the actual application. So let's go sudo apt install cockpit, and let's press enter, and then we can go through the install right fast. Shouldn't take too long, and I'll be back when this actually completes. Okay, cool. So the installation is complete, and one thing about this actual application, you don't have to have a web server installed on the system. It'll go down and install its own web server with this application. So it's nothing you really need to do as far as configuration. Let's just go down and go to the web browser right fast and open up Cockpit right fast so I can show you guys how to actually use it. So I'm gonna switch back over to my browser, and let's go down and type in the IP address of this server. So basically it uses port 990. So if you have your firewall turned on your system, you want to go down and open up port 990 on the server. So this server doesn't have the firewall enabled, so we can go right to it. So 192.168.10, and then this is all based on your IP addresses on your network, but you want to specify port 9090. So whatever the host name is, it could be, you know, the host name, or it could be the IP address. Just put port 9090 at the end, and that'll bring up the actual website. And then you'll see this pop up because it doesn't have any cert installed on this server, so that's why it's saying this connection is not private, and you only want to access this locally unless you put a cert on it. Otherwise, people can, you know, see details about your server, because none of the information that's traveling over the network is secure. So all we have to do is hit advanced in the browser and then just hit proceed. But this is what pops up, and it looks pretty cool. You know, the design of it, it tells you the host name. This is the actual host name of the server, of the virtual machine, and all we got to do is type in our username and password. And you want to go down and use your sudo account. So I'm gonna use Josh, which I have sudo access. I don't think you have to use a sudo account. I can't remember by reading the documentation. I don't think you need to have a sudo account to actually access it. It may give you limited stuff. So whenever you're doing stuff on the system, if you don't have access to it, it won't allow you to do it because your account is not part of the sudo or the will group. So let's go down and log into it. And they do have some options here. Let me click on that before we actually log into it. It says connect to. Okay, so you can connect to different servers from this one server. So that's what that's for. But we only have it on one server, so I'm gonna go down and log into it. But yeah, this is what you're greeted with. You're greeted with that actual host. So it says Ubuntu 20, you know, running Ubuntu 20.04.1 LTS. You can actually restart the server from here. You can also shut it down from right here, which is, you know, cool. And it automatically tells you that you have a privileged account. So I'm currently logged in using a privileged account. So I'm assuming you can log into it using a regular account. I haven't tested this yet, but you're not privileged, and you have to use a privileged account to actually do administrative tasks. Now on the main page, you know, it kind of gives you the health. It says the system is up to date, CPU usage. As you can see, this thing has 4 cores in it, and I put 8 gigs of memory in it, which I really didn't need. That's kind of overkill for this server. I was just, you know, playing around with it. But anyway, here's some system information, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? It gives you a machine ID, the model, which, like I said, this is a virtual box or a virtual machine. So, and then you can also manage some configuration, which is pretty cool. You can edit the host name. It has the system time. You can join it to a domain. and it says it requires realm D, so you would need that in order to join the domain. But performance profile, none. Secure shell keys, show fingerprints, PCP, enable store matrix. So those are the options there. Now you can actually go in and look at logs. So here we go. It's already showing that we have some logs on this system. Right here it says failed to send host log message. Yeah, I'm not sure what that log is for, but you can go through all your logs here. You know what I'm saying? And this might say fail to send host log, send host log message. But anyway, it tracks your logs for you. You can go through and actually look at them, and you can filter. They have dates. You can filter. You know, you can show everything. Alerts, only emergency alerts and above, critical and above. You know, you can sort it out by severity, and then as well as you can look at the service. So all and kernel. Cool. And then also let me show you some more. We got the storage area, so you can actually look at the input output of the storage. You can see the drives that are connected to this thing. So that's basically some of those commands you would run in the command line. You'll see it right here, you know, and it'll give you information on those drives, and it says storage log. So this is the log of the storages. So it shows you reboots and all that stuff. So it's pretty cool. And we can scroll down more, and yeah, that's pretty much it on the storage side. And then also you can look at the network. You can look at, you know, sending, receiving, interfaces. This is the actual device with the IP address associated with it, and these are some network logs. So you can obviously go through the network logs here as well. That's pretty cool. And then also accounts. You can look at the accounts. You can also create accounts here. So that's one cool thing about it. Now here, if we go into services, you can look at all the services. So this is basically what you would see under HTOP, or actually no, the services that are running on the system. And you can scroll through it and see, and you can probably click on them and initiate. Yeah, you can stop services from here. So like if you had a web server or something, you can stop the web server. As you can see, it has there's the cockpit web service right there, and that's actually running. So that's pretty cool that you can actually see it, and you can actually stop the service, you know, start it, or initialize the service, or enable the service. So now here we go down to applications. This is something you can actually add. I'm assuming this is to manage storage. And let me refresh this. And actually you can check for packages. I forgot about this. You can actually install packages from here. And here's the software update. It can't do that. It says cannot refresh cache while offline. I'm not sure why it's, you know, not showing all the information, or why is it saying it's offline. I don't know. But then here we go. This is a terminal. You obviously have, you know, other appearances you can, you know, set it at, but it'll automatically use that account that you're logged in under, and you can actually run commands from here. So let's just run htop and then quit right fast. But you can, you know, run all your commands from the terminal, which is pretty cool. I really like that feature is there. But that's pretty much all the tools that you would have for the host that you can use under here. But then also you can go to the dashboard, and the dashboard actually shows you all the servers that are within the network, and you can actually add all your hosts here. So if you had like another server, you can add that host here as well. Like I could add my server or one of my other servers to this, and you can see all the information for that server as well, and you can monitor everything from one system. So that's pretty much all I wanted to show you guys. If you guys want to check out Cockpit, you know, go down and go to their website, check it out for yourself or whatever, and then go down and install it in a virtual machine just to test it out and see how it actually works, and see if you want to install it on your local area network if you have like a Linux server that's running on your network that you want to kind of manage or whatever. But if you guys enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions, leave comments down in the comment boxes below. And of course, keep it techie.